What is up, guys? Welcome in. My name is Nick and welcome to the channel. Now today we are going to be behind the very familiar scene of the Peugeot 308 dashboard here at Lime Rock Park in the touring car lobby, and the aim of the game is to try and redeem some of the lost rating that we had in the pretty abysmal outing in the GT lobbies a few days ago. Now we are just doing our first qualifying lap here, and we managed to get a 53.1, which we weren't actually able to improve on our following two attempts, unfortunately. We originally went out with a provisional pole, but that will drop down to P6 to start this one off here. Now, before we get too far into the video, this is the time where I do need to thank each and every single one of my awesome channel members here at BPM. So thank you very much for you guys. It really does mean a lot with your support. I should also remind you that if you want to get involved with what we're doing over here, we've got a mini race coming up soon. You can do it by joining the Discord and the forum. And as a brief reminder before we just set off here, we're going to be starting from 4.856 with a safety rating of S coming into this race here. So we're starting P6 on the left hand side of the grid. Not the ideal side, it must be said. I do find that getting into the right hand side before turn 1 does limit your chances of being punted off into the great beyond on the outside of the track here, because if you get sent out there, it takes a long old time to get back to some tarmac. So we managed to hang it around the outside. We weren't able to nestle our way in. The Audi blocked us there from getting in. We get a little tap on the quarter panel on the rear side, but we managed to power our way through it to keep the car in a straight line, and we also make up a position up to a P5 through the course of that as well. So we managed to break out a little bit of a gap, bit wide coming through the left-hander and the right-hander, and then a bit wide coming through the final right-hander as well here. So not the greatest of opening laps. First time I've been doing it is in the hards in this lobby here. I did the just a few runs on mediums and a few runs on softs for qualifying, so just getting the use of the tyres, just trying to figure out where the grip is. And by the end of lap 4, beginning of lap 5, we are about 4 seconds adrift of the leading pack. Those guys are pretty damn rapid, but we do have a nice safety cushion of about 4 seconds to the car behind as well. Coming into lap 9, we've got the first of the people pitting here. We're up to P2 as we take advantage of those guys staying in. We don't manage to hold on to that for very long though. As you can see, by the end of lap 9, we've already got the leader back on our tail, and we're just going to let him through without fighting that too much, see if we can pick up the lines, see if we can get some extra sort of ideas from him in terms of braking point. But as you can see, he drops us off pretty quickly here, and coming through the right hander up the hill, we flick into moderate tyre wear. So we're going to be looking to see if we can pit this lap. I would ideally prefer to have gone a little bit longer, maybe sort of lap 11, lap 12. Self tyres for the first one here. I probably should have been mediums, but I was undecided at the time as to whether we want to go softs or go mediums. I thought, risk it for a biscuit. We'll see what we can do with these softs. So it's going to be the aim of the game is getting some tyre. The aim of the game in this one is just going to be trying to save some of the tyres to make sure they last for the end of the race. We're going to try and build a bit of a gap up again. As you can see, by the time we've come out of the pit lane, we are about 6 maybe 7 seconds clear of the guy behind. We are still ways off the group ahead, so we're not really going to be gaining anything much through these here. We're just going to be putting in a quick couple of laps here to try and build a gap and see if we can challenge for fastest lap of the race for purely pride's sake. And as you can see, we managed to get up there to a 53.0, so even improving a little bit on our qualifying time through the race here as well. Coming down here, we managed to actually gain a position on that lap thanks to someone leaving, so we're up to P4, so thank you very much for that, for the free position. And as you can see, the last bit of this here is just going to be managing tyre wear, so the times have dropped off massively. We're about a second a lap slower than we were at the beginning of this stint, but we are still growing that lead to the car behind at about 10 seconds. Coming into lap 15 here, we're just flicking into minor tyre wear on the outer tyres. That flicks to moderate on the following lap. So these tyres were just about hanging on, because as you can see, as we get to the tail end of this final lap here, we are in severe. We have no tread left on the front tyre, so we are going to go very, very gingerly through here. Thankfully, we've got that 10-second buffer. We burned 2 of those seconds just trying to make sure we get to the finish line. But that is going to be a P4. But wait a minute, it wasn't actually a P4 because someone decided to leave in the final screen before the end of the race. So we're actually going to sneak a podium. So thank you very much for that. A nice cheeky little podium there, which we should really be P5, but thanks to 2 people leaving before the podium ceremony, we pick ourselves up a P3 and the bonus points to go with it. So moving on to VIR, you know my feelings for this place. Ignore the weirdness that's happening behind you. It is just an illusion. Those cars cannot hurt you. So not really much to talk about on this one. We know VAR, we know the squiggly wiggly bits. It's going to be sort of a usual hard to soft stint on this one. We managed to get our first qualifying lap at 2:42. We try again on our second one. You kind of really have to do one lap, reset tyres and go again in the Peugeot, I find. but we weren't able to improve on that because we went very, very deep into turn 1 on the second of our qualifying attempts. So we will be starting this one from P2. If you do like the look of the livery, by the way, do please go and check out Despicable Me. He is my guy when it comes to these designs, and they are freaking awesome. If you're looking for some touring car related ones, either BTCC or otherwise, go and check him out. They are awesome. I use him for basically all of my touring car liveries. But anyway, we get off the line here. We managed to hold position at P2. We've got a Golf looking very feisty around the outside, even rear ends the MG in front of us there as we come into turn 1. But we managed to survive that in second position. Looking to see if we can just hang on with the guy in front. He was about a second or so a lap quicker than me through qualifying. I think nearly 2 seconds, in fact. I probably had half a second or so in sort of mistakes on the lap. So he's still, yeah, probably got about a second a lap pace on me, especially a bit more than that at the beginning of the lap when he's on his medium tyres. So we're just focusing on trying to solidify our position here. You can see we've got the Golf hanging in behind us as well. He was pretty close to me in qualifying time. We managed to sort of hold a gap to him, but he gets all kinds of out of shape coming through the left-hander here after the downhill section, and we managed to build a nice little cushion. As you can see, by the end of the lap, we've got about 2 second gap. We are almost 2.5 seconds behind the leader, which is not helped by rolling two wheels onto the dirt coming into the start-finish straight. Lap 2, we've dropped a little bit. He's gained a second on us in front, and we've still got about a 2 second buffer. And as we come through here onto the back straight, as you can see, we're pretty much maintaining that gap to the cars behind. But unfortunately, we are not just able to follow suit with that MG in front of us. It is incredibly quick. That guy is very, very rapid. So yeah, unfortunately not really much to discuss on this one either. It was a kind of 2 very lonely races here. They're 2 very well positioned races, but I've been comfortably in this gap on my own, to be honest. We go 1 lap longer being on the hard tyres. Unfortunately, we do mess up completely and drop into the grass on the outside of turn 1. We are just ahead of P1. As you can see, as we get towards the end of lap 4, we just dip into moderate tyre wear as we come into the pit lane. And that is P1 passing us as we pit here as well. So go out for softs as we are in the pit lane. I missed it the last time, but if you could drop me a like, leave me a comment, and do please subscribe if you enjoy this for plenty more Forza videos in the future. We've got some awesome stuff coming up, including a mini championship later on this week, so do please come back and check that one out. So as we come back out onto the racetrack, we have a nice big gap to the cars behind us. We've managed to increase that to about a 4 second gap after the pit stops. And yeah, it's just going to be sort of bringing in these last 2 laps here. We're going to go for 1 quick lap. On our out lap, we managed to improve our first time. We just got to pick up a couple of seconds through this first section of the lap while we were getting up to speed. We've managed to stretch the gap to about 6.5 seconds to the car behind us. We're ticking into minor tyre wear as we come down to the back straight, and just ticking into moderate as we cross the line to bring it home in P2. So we have yet another podium celebration there for the mighty Peugeot, surrounded by MGs, and yeah, just nice to be something different. It's nice to always try and take a little win off the MGs if we can. Right, so for our third and final race, we find ourselves at Kyalami, and it's looking a little bit damp. So we're doing the first of our qualifying laps here, and as you can see, we are getting rain on the windscreen here. It's not totally damp track, but there is definitely water in the air. So we're coming through here on the final corner. We're looking pretty good to potentially take pole initially at the start of this qualifying. We've only got just under 4 minutes left, so we've only really got 1 more attempt left, maybe, unless we're quick. And as we go through this, I'm looking at the tyre wear down in the bottom right corner here, and you can see that you do burn tyres pretty quick in the Peugeot, but even still, we get a first glimpse there with tyre squill that the track may actually be fairly dry at this point. So look at the tyre wear. We are dropping a fair bit through the first few corners here. So I'm going to dip out. We're going to jump and get some softs. We managed to just about sneak 1 qualifying lap in there, and we managed to get, once again, back onto the front row of the grid with a P2. Now with this one here, I'm going to start on hards. I was toying with going softs to begin with to try and sort of make a gap or challenge at the front, but it's still looking pretty gloomy. I'm going to go hards just in case we can see if there's going to be any rain later on in this race. So I am surrounded by MGs. I think it's me and about 3 MGs at the front here. So these guys have definitely got a straight line advantage me coming into turn 1. So I go defensive early, put ourselves on the inside, just sneaking it in behind the MG in front of us. We get a little tap from the one behind, but nothing too aggressive there, nothing to worry about. As we come into turn 3 barbecue up the hill, you can see the car in front drops a wheel onto that sand on the outside. He gets a little bit out of shape. We have a potential thought that we might be able to challenge something coming into sunset, but not really much going on here. We keep it close, but he's just got the drive out of the corner. He's on the medium tyres, I believe, as well, so he has got the grip advantage to us right now. And yeah, we're just not really going to be able to take the fight to these MGs. They are incredibly strong in a fast driver's hand. They are pretty hard to challenge. I feel like I've got a good tune on this Peugeot, and I feel like I'm doing pretty well, but still, these races here, there are some people I just can't touch in this car. But we do seem to be stronger on the brakes. We did get a little bit out of shape coming through the second part of the S's there, as did the car in front. We do seem to be a lot better on the brakes as well. We can brake a lot later and a lot harder, so we do seem to close up during the braking zones. But yeah, just not got the top end speed here. I'm running still relatively low drag from the Daytona race the other week, so this new wing setup seems to be doing a bit better than the ones I was running. So even with that, we can see in the mirror the car behind is just gaining on me. It was about a second behind at the beginning of this lap. Coming into the hairpin at the top of the hill, he is challenging here, so we're just going to do my trademark defence here on this one at the top of the hill. We're just going to park ourselves on the apex, not let them get the cut back. Even still, with blocking it there with a little bit of contact, he's still got the run coming down the hill. Now this bit here, I thought I'd left him more than I did. I pinched it a little bit. I was expecting him to be a little bit further behind me than he was, thinking he'd have to brake a little bit for the tighter line. It was a little tap, but it was nothing major. But yeah, apologies for that. I did squeeze it a little bit too hard coming through that one. We block on the apex at the bottom of the hill, and again, stopping the cutback, we get a little tap from the car behind. So we are doing a pretty good job defending this P2. Not taking any defensive line coming into the final corner here. It's not really one that he was close enough to sling up the inside without me being able to sort of do the cutback and him completely miss the apex. So we're going to be in this fight running down to turn one. It is a fight I'm going to lose, and it's not really one I'm going to be able to put up much of resistance against, to be honest. He's got the inside line here. I'm just going to pick my braking point. Hope he runs deep and we can cut it back. He goes a little bit deep, but he manages to catch it and bring it back for the exit, so we're not quite able to get back in front on the run down to the next corner. Have a think about diving up the inside, but again, not really close enough. He gets a little bit out of shape mid-corner. We carry a little bit too much speed, drop a wheel into the sand on the outside there, and that gets me a little bit out of shape, and that's pretty much all of my defence that I could do on that. But as you can see, it is getting a bit dark, so we're hoping that there might be some rain on the way. We get a little bit greedy in terms of throttle through sunset there, drops us a little bit wide, wheel over to the curb, but we managed to hold it onto it. We don't lose too much time and don't get out of shape there as you do quite easily. It's really getting a bit dark now, so I'm really hoping that this going long on these hards was going to pay off for me in the long run. Once again, we're under all kinds of pressure coming through the hairpin at the top of the hill, so we go defensive, making sure no one can get the cut back. I'm kind of getting swarmed here coming into the bottom of the hill, so I'm not just going to put myself mid-track. I'm not going to defend too aggressively. We've managed to get the MG up the inside, and there's a Golf being very opportunistic, darting up the inside as well, so we can see two positions coming through there. We slot in behind him coming through Cheetah. The MG is all off into the grass up ahead. We are almost three wide coming into this final corner. The Golf slings around the outside of the MG. I've got to tuck in behind him. A great move by that guy there. We use all of the available space on the runoff. Get a little bit of a warning for hitting the MG, but I didn't even realise he was there, to be honest, until we'd already made contact. Meanwhile, through all of this, the leader has pit as well going into the beginning of lap 4, so I was the end of lap 4. I was expecting most of them to pit this one here, so you can see I'm really still hoping out on the fact that this darkness is going to bring some rain at some point. I'm going to go do another lap here. I probably should have pitted there for softs. That was probably the smart strategy, but we're going to see if we can hold out another lap, because as I say, it's just getting darker and darker. I'm just hoping to see some spots of rain at this point. But as we come through sunset, we're just going to get a little bit too carried away. We're not quite lucky enough this time to manage to keep control of the vehicle, and we do just get out of shape, grazing the barrier, which spins me around completely and points us in the wrong direction, losing all speed, and any benefit we've got of these soft tyres is just disappearing. So unfortunately, by the time we actually limp ourselves back round into the pit lane, we've got basically no grip in the front tyres left. The leader has basically caught us before we even get into the final corner. So yeah, this is going to be damage control. Unfortunately, there's not much we can do. We've got 2 laps of softs to see if we can recover anything, but I don't feel like there's going to be much left on offer. The rain just didn't come. We sort of gambled and went along to see if there was anything that we could maybe make happen in the closing stages of the race. Coming out of the pits, we've got the pink Audi closing in on us coming to turn 1. We had enough space to get over to the racing line. We're just going to cover that off, and we shouldn't have too much of a threat with him because we are on brand new fresh softs. And as you see, by the time we get through to Cheetah, we've already gapped him by about 4 seconds. And yeah, we're just seeing some taillights at the beginning of lap 8. Unfortunately, they're just a bit too far away, tantalising me there with being in range. We have caught up about 1.5 seconds over the course of this lap. We do put in a new fastest lap as well, but it was just a little bit too much, unfortunately, and we do bring it home in P6. So not the strongest of finishes, but we do get 2 podiums in these races here, so we can't really complain about that too much. And even with those there, we do manage to get above 4.9k, so we have got back to the point we started at. So yeah, pretty happy with how the races went for this one here. So if you enjoyed this one, do please click the video on screen now for more touring car actions where we went back-to-back winners in the Peugeot. There were some pretty good races there, I must say. And if you did like this, do please drop me a like, leave me a comment and subscribe before playing more in the videos in the future, and I will catch you in the next one. Cheers.